Hey you guys, I told you I'd be on here to do a demo and here I am. I'm going to make the apple crisp pizza. So first we're starting off with our fabulous new stone, which is a fusion stoneware. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a lip right there. So when you use the pizza peel, which you can also get, you can slide your crust onto this and it won't slide off the other side of your stone. So that's a good thing. It's also shaped a little more square than the round one we always have had. And these stones can be preheated. They can go in the dishwasher, although I still swear by not washing your stones in the dishwasher. And you can use them at higher heat. The stoneware is still guaranteed for 3 years, so please remember to keep your receipt, or you can just contact me if you bought it from me and I can help you out. Also, when you put in your email address with any order that you make, your products will all be listed in your account and will show the warranty that they have, okay? So we're gonna use that stone today, and we're going to use a crust that's already made because I never make crust. It's one thing I've never mastered is pie crust. I don't think I've ever even tried to make it because why should I when I can buy a red box? So I'm using my fabulous scissors. I love these scissors. These are the kitchen shears. These come apart for easy cleaning or a quick weapon. They also are able to be sharpened because you can take them right apart. And you can use these to crack nuts or to open a soda bottle. They're excellent. They cut through bones, they cut through everything. I really, really love them. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the end off this, throw this away. And then I'm gonna take my crust and roll it out on my pastry sheet. This is also a Pampered Chef item. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but they have round measured lines here so you know how big around you're making something. This works out good if you really need to know. I usually just wing it, but this one here said to roll it out to 12 inches, so I'm gonna do that. And you're supposed to take this out and leave it out a little while first so it gets a little soft. So I put a little flour on it anyways because I think it helps with the apples not to be too juicy. And then I just turn it over like this. Rub it on both sides. And then I take my fabulous dough and pizza roller. I love the old one that was the wooden one, but this one works great and it's plastic. So you just roll this out. I roll from the middle out so that all of my circle is even. And I go a little bit further than the 12 inches because we're gonna put a little bit underneath to make a lip on our crust. There. How quick was that? Put that over here. Now, I'll roll this up so that's not in the way. Put it in the sink. And bring my stone over. Okay, so now I've got the stone here. I'm gonna put this in the middle. This is nice and smooth. I'm gonna roll just a little lip around the edge. So how many of you have stoneware? Probably everybody. If you don't have stoneware, I just swear by it for pizza, for baking anything, breads, cookies, pies, because it absorbs the excess moisture and allows the moisture to circulate in the oven instead of making your crust soggy. I love these new stones because I put them in the oven up to 500 if I want for a pizza. And I leave it for 15 minutes and my pizza is perfect. Okay, so I've got my little lip here, so I'm just gonna go around with my thumb and finger the old-fashioned way. You can crimp it any way you want. This is the way I learned, so I just go around and do that. And then we'll get with our apple filling. Now this video, I was gonna go live with, but I am quite afraid that I might screw something up and then you guys wouldn't see what I was doing or whatever. So I'll post this one in everybody's party that's going on. So Kelly Gilbert, this is for you guys. It's also for Janie Robinson. And let's see, who else is having a catalog show right now? Manji Gadboys. And I'm trying to think of the other one I have on there. I've got some coming up too that are real live parties as well. So make sure that if you know these people, you tell them you want to be invited to their party. Okay, so now I've got my crust done. See, so I'll set that aside. And now I'm gonna get my old standby, the first thing I ever bought from the Pampered Chef. Actually, I think it came in my kit. 27 years ago. And this is the apple peeler core slicer. Now, this is a must-have, all right? You cannot go pick apples and make apple pies and everything if you have not got this thing. I love it. Of course, we do have a new apple core now that you can use just to core it, and then you can peel it yourself and slice it up yourself. But watch this. You have to go fast. You have to make sure this is adjusted right, so it's barely a lip on there. So you don't want it too deep or it'll take too much apple. You can also use it for potatoes, so you can make swirly potatoes, drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil, some fresh rosemary, and put them in the oven with some Parmesan. They're excellent. Okay, so now you just go as fast as you can. If you go too slow, they can bind up a bit, especially if the apples are soft. I'm using Granny Smith apples because I think they're the best kind for baking, but you can use Cortland's or any other kind you like. Okay, so now instead of trying to pull this off like a lot of people do, watch this. Just take it off like this and throw those away. Now you could put those in a compost. You could leave them up for the birds. You could feed them to your children, but you have to be careful because that stringiness of the peel could choke them if they're not chewing it well. You could also toss it with some Jell-O mix, and then you can put them on your stone and bake them at a low heat, and you get kind of like gummy worms. Okay, so here we go, another one. So comment on this and tell me if you have our apple peeler core slicer. I really cannot live without this thing. I love it. I use it every fall. And when I make my apple and cranberry and walnut pie, I must have it. One time I didn't want to go out in my car and get it. So I tried to just peel and cut my apples. It took me about 3 times as long. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the other one on there. You wanna make sure it's in the center. Press it forward. Hold on to it. I have mine on stand. You could hook it to your countertop, but some countertops, especially granite ones, are a little thick for this. There, I tried to take the extra peel off there. Okay, and one more. I'm supposed to use 4 apples for this. Although I will tell you, the 4 apples makes a nice big pile. The recipe says to put a single layer. So we'll see. I've got one in the oven right now, so I can pretend like I'm on Rachel Ray, and when I open the oven, there's one already done. Okay, so take this off and pull out. That core stayed right in there. So take that, throw that in the sink, and you just rinse that off. You don't have to take it all apart and put it in the dishwasher or anything like that. So I'm cutting these apples in half now. And then I'll cut them again in a couple pieces. What are you doing in here? Yeah, so just cut them in chunks. And if there's any seed or anything, pick that out. Some of the seeds will stay in there if you get a crooked apple. I just peel it out of there. Okay, cut that. Looks like a lot of apples for a little tart, but we'll see how it comes out. Of course, you do have to have French vanilla ice cream to go on top of this as well, because you can't just put any old ice cream on apple crisp. Yeah, I think I got them all cut up. One more in here. Right now, there's so many different apples you could go picking, so as long as your apples are nice and hard and tart, you can use this recipe. If they're not, if they're sweet, you could use a lot less sugar and still make this. I like to use brown sugar and white sugar mixed together. This recipe calls for all white sugar, but I prefer the brown mixed in. And I also use about half of the sugar that they call for because I don't want stuff too sweet. There, so that's all cut up. If you find one in there later, you can just cut it up or break it up. Just toss them around. Get rid of that piece of peel because the peel will get a little rubbery when you bake it. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, so now to add in the other stuff. So we got 3 tablespoons of flour in my cute little cup. I love this thing. This is the mini measuring cup. You can look into it and see what you've got in there instead of having to hold it up. So we got about 3 tablespoons of flour. And then I've got my sugar in here. So I've got my brown sugar on top and the white sugar on the bottom. The white sugar is what they said to put in, so I'm not putting this whole thing in because I don't want it to be too sweet. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave some of that sugar behind. Okay, and then you just mix it all in there like that. And then we're gonna have to put some Cinnamon Plus Blend. Now, did you hear? The Cinnamon Plus Blend is coming back. I'm so excited about that. I've been making my own for a couple of years now since I got rid of it. And I do know how to make them pretty good imposter, but the real thing is better, obviously. So that's gonna be coming back for the holidays. Maybe it'll stay longer if people really, really buy it up and want it to stay. But get a stash while it's out there. We're also gonna have our vanilla back too. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse my hands off and put some Cinnamon Plus in here. So I've got my Cinnamon Plus blend. And I'm going to put about, this is my half teaspoon, so I'll put a teaspoon in there. This is so good. It's got cloves and orange and I'm trying to think what else is in there. Nutmeg. It's so yummy. Now, one thing I always put in my apple pie when I make it is a little lemon zest. So I'm going to just zest my lemon with my microplane zester. Now, some people would just zest it right in there. I like to go like this so I can see how much I actually am putting in there. So as you can see, I'm just zesting it like this. You can see how much is in there. I'll just push that in there. There. And you can put a little lemon juice in too to squeeze it on there. And for the holidays, you could also put a few fresh cranberries in this. So there's that. Let's get rid of this mess. And I'm going to just toss that together. And then we'll put those all on top of our crust. And I've got one of my glass mixing bowls here. Obviously, I should have picked a bigger one. But these come in a set of 3. These are really nice bowls. I like to mix everything in glass. I do not like mixing in plastic. So I would highly recommend these bowls. So we're going to put that on our crust. They're all mixed up good. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back over for a minute. There's the crust. Throw that on there. And now I've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. The crust box says that should be higher, but we're gonna go with this recipe, okay? Because I tweak them afterwards. If they don't come out the way I want them to, I tweak them a little bit after, and then I'll tell you about it. Okay, so there's that, all laid out there. Alrighty, and then for the topping, you're gonna use your typical crisp ingredients. You're gonna use this, which is our 2-cup batter bowl. This is something you can get for free when you order $80 this month. You can also have a choice between this or the colored tomato knife or the colored paring knife. Okay, so I'm using my nice knives that go on my block. These are the forged cutlery, which I love. Okay, so now in this one, we're gonna put flour. So we got a 1/2 cup of flour. We've got a 1/2 cup of oats, and that's real oats, not quick oats. And this is my one cup prep bowl. If you're thinking about giving teacher gifts and things this year, these are perfect because you get 6 in a package, so you can make little cocoa cups or something, or cake cups to give to the teachers from the kids. It's really cute. I'll be posting that at the holiday time, so be sure you keep paying attention to my web page there, my Facebook page. This is the very old measure-all cup. We do still have this, but it's white and clear. This is 2/3 cup of sugar. Yeah. No, 1/3 cup of brown sugar packed. Okay. And then we just mix that all together. And then the thing I add to this, you don't have to, is my walnuts. I love walnuts, so I always put walnuts in. And I always put a little pinch of salt too. So I am going to put a little bit of salt in there. So just mix that up. And then we've got our nuts here. and the 2-cup prep bowl. So if you want to give a bigger gift to your teacher, you get those. They come in a set of 2, I think. And then we're going to chop up these nuts with a food chopper. And you don't want them chopped up a lot, maybe 4 times, so they're still pretty crunchy and big. Okay, I like a lot of nuts, so I'm gonna put more nuts in. Okay, and then just throw them in there. And then just mix it all with the butter. Now this is the fun part. I use my hands. You could use a pastry blender, but it doesn't get it the perfect way you want it, okay? It gets stuck in the pastry blender and it's a pain in the butt. So I'm just gonna take that paper off. Nobody wants any extra fiber in this. And I'm just gonna squish it up and put it in there. So start squishing. And that's all you do is you keep mixing it until it's all like sand, wet sand. So while we're doing that, I'll talk to you about it. I've got the other one in the oven right there, and it's gonna come out in a minute. The timer just went off, but I don't believe it's done yet. We also gotta put some cinnamon in this too. So when this is done, I'm gonna mix it in. And then I'm gonna show you exactly what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. And I've got my perfect homemade caramel sauce. Now, if you don't have our deluxe cooking blender, you really do need it, because you can make hot caramel sauce in no time in there, and it's so delicious. I've had mine for quite a while in the fridge, and it's still just as good. You can make hot soups, like butternut squash soup from scratch with all just chunks of vegetables and broth, and it heats it and cooks it. It doesn't just heat it from friction like other blenders do. This actually cooks it to a temperature of 220, I believe it is. So you can make your soups in there, you can make your purees, you can be fancy, put a puree on your plate, like, and put your fish on it like they do at the restaurants. You can make smoothies, we have a smoothie attachment, or you can just make them in your blender. I really love my blender, so I use that all the time. And the other thing I have to rave about is the quick cooker. The quick cooker is perfect for when you need to be quick. The other night I hadn't planned anything for supper, and I had some frozen chicken. I took that out, threw it in my quick cooker, threw in some salsa, a can of beans, some rice in my little casserole that goes in there, and I made some salsa chicken. So it was like a Mexican rice bowl. It was delicious. So it's quick and easy. I always share recipes from Pressure Luck Cooking, which is another website on Facebook. He has some really good recipes. I make the linguine with clam sauce all the time. It's really yummy. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Now, all I gotta do is put the cinnamon in here. And of course, my hands are dirty now, so I'll just guess at it. This is what I usually do. I go like this. That looks good. Mix that around. Now I'm gonna put that on top of the apples. Yeah. And then we will put this in the oven. So just put this on top, and hopefully it won't fall off the edges and fall on the floor, so be careful because it does roll around. And the real key to this is to use rolled oats, not the quick cooking kind. There. I don't know if you can see me over here. Just see my lovely back end. Okay. Here it is. Okay. So now let me get the other one out of the oven. And I did forget to put the salt in. I'll just put a little salt on top. Oh my gosh, that looks good. Okay, so I'll get it out and show it to you in a minute. I like to let them cook a little longer because I think the crust takes longer. So, let me talk to you about my caramel sauce. Look at that. So yummy, okay? So easy. You put it all in your blender and it cooks all by itself. The blender also washes itself, so you put soap and water in there and let it go and it washes itself. So that's another great thing. This Cinnamon Plus blend, if you were buying anything for your pies this season, you should have this. This is so good. It adds so much more flavor than just plain cinnamon. However, we are going to have our Kirinji cinnamon come back as well. So that's a very good high quality cinnamon. And probably our vanilla. The vanilla was gone for a while too, and I was making my own double strength bourbon vanilla. in my quick cooker. And they do highly recommend that you don't use alcohol in the quick cooker, you know, just to cook the alcohol. Just be careful when you let the steam out that you're not smoking and you don't have a flame anywhere nearby. That's the key. All right, so we're gonna get that out so I can show it to you. But first I wanna put my heat pad down. Let me see. I've got the red one right now. But we have all gray now. So all of our oven mitts are gray. They have a nice lining inside. They fit nicely, so you don't have to worry about burning yourself. So here it goes. It's just like being on TV, right? Get this out, show it to you. Pretty excited. I'm gonna put the other one in. I feel like turning the hands over. There you go. Check that out. Okay. Now I'm gonna check out the crust because I always feel like my oven is so slow. It looks pretty good, but I think I would cook it a little longer. But I'll show you what I'm gonna do when I do wanna eat it. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go drizzle that around like this. Okay. That looks so good. Yeah. And then you serve that with ice cream on top. Or you can make your own whipped cream in our whipped cream maker. Or you can make your own whipped cream in the deluxe cooking blender. So that's our recipe for today. Actually, I could cut this and show you what it looks like. You could cut it with your pizza cutter. I know I should wait till it's a little bit cooler, but let's see what it looks like. I'll put it on a paper plate. Very fancy. I got my mini serving spatula, which everybody should have. Doesn't that look good? Mmm. Smells so good. Should I taste it? I'll taste it. I know. I wish you could taste it too. I know it's gonna be hot. It could be like Jada. I could just take a bite and then spit it out when you're not looking. Good. That is really good. I would cook it a little longer for the crust on the bottom because I like my crust really crispy. So I'm gonna throw it back in on the top half. Actually, I put this back in here. My husband won't know. I'll give him that one with a bite out of it. Put a big blob of ice cream on it and he won't even notice. There. That is so good. You have got to make this. So what I think we should do is if you want to have a party, book it off, whoever you are attending the party of. That person will get a half price item at your party. And you will get the free stuff, the half price, the 60% off. If we do a virtual, we could all go on together and you could get all the ingredients and we could cook it all together. How would that be? That would be a little different than just watching me for 23 minutes and then watching me eat it too. So thanks for paying attention to this. I hope I'm getting better at it. I'm not very good at these videos, but I am going to practice some more because this is going to be the way of the future, I guess. Thanks for attending. I will talk to you soon. Bye.